Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Apple Watch Series 7 and see how this particular Apple Watch holds up in 2025. Now number one, the thing I will tell you is that this Apple Watch is actually one of the Apple Watches I'm thinking about of going through and upgrading to. I'm currently still using an Apple Watch Series 4, and that really isn't the best Apple Watch in the world, but with the Apple Watch Series 7, I feel like this is still a really decent middle ground of getting an Apple Watch that's still supported, that's still pretty good, and giving you a pretty decent price tag at that as well. So we'll take a look at that throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if you do want to pick up this Apple Watch or some other ones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Apple Watch Series 7, this particular Apple Watch is actually going through and giving you two different sizes on the screens. So it's giving you a 41mm size and then the bigger size on top of that, the 45mm size. So this is in and of itself a really nice thing. If you are going to go through and pick up an Apple Watch, that is a really nice thing going on here that you can kind of configure at both sides. Now on top of that, you're also still getting a pretty decent display too. Like it still gets fairly bright at 1000 nits of brightness. Now you're also still getting the action button on the side as well as the ringer, the standard, power button too. So that is kind of a nice thing going on for this type of, side as well and this type of device. On the back side, you're getting your standard charging port, so you can slap this thing on a charger, and you're going through and getting your bands. So you can go through and use your bands inside of this type of watch as well, which that in and of itself is another really nice thing. So if you are going to go through and pick up a watch, it is really nice to kind of have this type of capability of basically getting these types of bands that you can kind of configure around. And I do think this is kind of a nice thing going on here as well. So when you take a look at the outside, this type of watch still holds up fairly well for the most part. And I do think if you are going to go through and pick up a watch, it's really nice to have a device like this that's going to hold up this well. So that is in and of itself a really nice thing going on here for this type of watch as well. Now on top of that, when it comes down to software longevity, right? This watch is still supported with software, and it probably is going to be supported with software for quite a bit of time. It's not really going anywhere anytime soon, and I do think that is a really nice thing going on for this type of watch when it comes down to it. The fact that this thing's not going to cost that much money, it's not going to be the most expensive watch in the world, I think that's a nice thing. And the fact that it's still supported with software is another really nice thing going on for this type of watch too. So I feel like personally for me, this is a very nice thing going on for this type of device when it comes down to it. But even from the performance side, this device still does hold up fairly well when it comes down to the performance of these types of devices. Like you can still go through and get a device like this that's going to hold up very well from a performance perspective. It's still getting some features here and there, but I think the biggest thing is that for a lot of things I would end up doing, like, checking notifications, tracking my workouts, things like that, I feel like this type of device still does a really good job at those types of things. And if you are going to go through and pick up a device, it's a really nice thing in and of itself to basically get a device like this that's going to hold up that well. So personally for me, that in and of itself as well kind of gets a thumbs up for me because it does hold up well for the things that I would basically do inside of a watch. The only downsides of this watch, or maybe the things that won't hold up the best inside of this particular watch, maybe is when it comes down to possibly the future for the next 5 years. This thing might not be the best thing in the next 5 years, so kind of keep that in mind. On top of that, this thing may not be the best thing when it comes down to the feature longevity. So this thing is not going to be giving you the most amount of features in the future. But even beyond that, I don't even think that's that big of a deal. And that's just kind of what ends up happening when you're going through and getting a watch like this anyways. So in terms of all that, the thing I will definitely tell you is that the Apple Watch Series 7, I think, is still a very good watch when it comes down to it. If you are going to go through and pick up a watch, this thing makes a lot of sense to go and buy. I think this thing kills it, and I do think if you are going to go through and pick up a watch, this thing does make a lot of sense to go and pick up. If you have more money, then definitely go for a more expensive one, but even if you don't have more money, I would still recommend buying this type of watch just because it's a really good one when it comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.